A lot of people like to describe normal maps as a sort of illusion of, surface deformation. But in reality, I feel like this description is very vague. It's great for beginners and people who aren't involved in CG at all, but really, as you become more advanced and as you get into using normal maps, you should really understand how they work. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of CGC Weekly here on the CG Cookie Blender Training YouTube channel. This week, we're diving deep into normal maps and exploring how they work and what everybody means by they're an illusion of depth or surface deformation. I don't want to stall too much, so let's hop over to the whiteboard to get started. All right, so in order to understand exactly how normal maps work, let's first talk about what they do. A normal map basically adds this sort of, as I stated earlier, illusion of depth or surface deformation to a model without actually causing any real deformation in the mesh, right? It's an image texture that looks and changes the way that lighting affects the mesh. So this is the normal map from the example that I just showed. Normal maps used R, G, and B color channels, meaning red, green, and blue, in order to store their information. So let's break this down a little bit. This is a single white pixel. And this single white pixel is comprised of three different channels, R, G, and B, or red, green, and blue. These three colors are the additive primary colors, meaning that if you took, for example, three flashlights, one with red light, one with green light, and one with blue light, and shine them at the same spot, the light would be white at that point. Each color channel, red, green, and blue, has a value between 0 and 1. In reality, it's 0 and 255 for 8-bit colors, but we'll view it as 0 and 1. That way we can kind of view it as a proportion. 0 means that there is no red light being emitted at all, and 1 means that red light is on at full strength. So, in the case that we wanted pure red light, our red channel would be 1, our green channel would be 0 because we don't want any green light interfering with our red, and our blue light would also be 0. If we wanted green, it would be 0, 1, 0, and if we wanted blue, it would be 0, 0, 1, right? So red, green, and blue represented as colors using numbers and channels, right? But this pixel right here, though, from what we can see, is white, which means that all three of these colors have to be combined at full strength, right? Because as I just talked about, they're the additive primary colors. So white, in terms of color, would be 1, 1, 1. And vice versa, black would be 0, 0, 0. Because in this state, everything's emitting light, but in this state, nothing's emitting light. Therefore, it is black. So how exactly does this correspond to a normal map? Well, normal maps are, as I said, made up of red, green, and blue channels. But the important part is not what color the normal map is, it's the data that is stored in the red, green, and blue channels. In fact, RGB channels of a normal map actually contain vector data for the X, Y, and Z channels respectively, right? So red is the X channel, green is the Y channel, and blue is the Z channel. And I tried to draw arrows, but those arrows did not come out at all how I wanted them to. So basically, we're storing vector data values on the color channels of a pixel. So in this case, right, we have a white pixel, meaning that red, green, and blue all have a value of 1, meaning that X, Y, and Z will also all have a value of 1. So considering these marks indicate where 1 is on our 3D, 3D axes here, that's the word, right? We'd go 1 unit over on the X-axis, so like so, boop, 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 right? We go 1 unit over on the y-axis, so we're kind of coming out of the board if you can imagine it here, like that. And then we'd go 1 unit up on the z-axis. Just like that, we have the basis of our 3D vector created. And if we draw in the new vector, just like that, we now have our 3D vector at this coordinate, which happens to be 1, 1, 1. Now, of course, we can have a ton of different values for this. We could have, say 0.5, 0.37, and 0.91. And these different values will correspond to different points in a vector. So let's go ahead and actually take a look at how this can be applied to a 3D model as a shading normal. I really have to get like a big ruler or a meter stick or something up here because this is just not cutting it. All right, so here I have this geometry drawn. We have some sort of, I don't know what to call this, like maybe part of what would become like a nonagon or a decagon or something like that. And we have all the vertices labeled with these orange dots, and then we have all of the normals labeled as well with these vectors, right? And keep in mind these are all vectors. We have the normals of the faces, which are these blue lines, which is what you're most familiar using as a CG artist. But then there's also these pink lines, and these are the vertex normals, right? So these are two types of geometric normals, meaning that they rely upon the geometry of our object. But there's also another type of normal out there, and this is the one that normal maps interlock with. Those are shading normals. And shading normals are basically extra normals that are added into your geometry to make things look different or, seem slightly different. For example, when you change something from smooth to flat shading, you'll notice it looks very geometric. You can see all the faces and such. But when you change it to have smooth shading, Blender will alter the shading normals so that things look a little bit smoother. So here's what flat shading might look like when it comes to shading normals. All of our shading normals are pointing just parallel with the geometric normal, creating something that looks basically like, a flat face. And then when we come over here, you can see that there's a harsh change between these two normals because we can basically ignore the vertex normals for now because the vertex normals are just other stuff. But there's a harsh change in angles when those faces meet, causing a harsh change in lighting. But in the case that we change things to smooth lighting, it might look a little bit more like this. Blender or whatever 3D software you're using would change our shading normals to have kind of a gradient in between. So basically, in the center, things still stay flat. But as we approach the edge, it makes our geometry look slightly curved instead of having just that sharp geometric edge. And this is what shading normals do. And this is what normal maps take advantage of. Normal maps allow us to manually program each of these shading vectors to go in a different direction. All right, so there are 15 different shading normals across this surface, right? And basically, we can view shading normals on a per pixel basis, meaning that these 15 shading normals can be divided up into 15 different pixels on our normal map. So basically, each one of these boxes up here represents one single pixel on our giant normal map, right? And each of those 1 pixels affects one of the shading vectors that appears on our face. So I mentioned earlier the fact that we can basically use those RGB channels of those pixels to create a vector. And that's exactly what we're doing here. So let's take a look at this vector in depth, all right? So this vector, or this pixel, this pixel will have a value of, let's say, I should actually, before we get too far along here, draw on a 3D axis here. That's X, that's Y, and this is Z, right? So there's our 3D axis, so we can kind of visualize this a little bit better. So let's say we wanted to create smooth shading here using a normal map. Well, of course, this vector has to be tilted this way, which would be in the negative X direction. So let's say we'll give this pixel a negative 0.2 for the red channel, all right? The green channel, or the y-axis, well, we don't really want our shading normal to come out this way anymore, so we'll just leave that at 0. And then for the Z channel, well, right now it's set to 1 by default because it's matching up with the geometric normal, so we'll keep that. We'll set this to 1. So basically, our pixel here will be colored strongly blue, right? Because its value is 1, meaning it's very strong. There will be no green, because green doesn't exist in this at all because we don't have any Y deformation, right? And then red has a value of negative 0.02. And a lot of the times in computer graphics, including with normal maps, like 0.5 is kind of considered to be like the 0 mark. It's called the midpoint, right? So this is basically a value of 0.3, all right? So it'll be slightly red, like that. So majorly blue, slightly red, comes out to be just a little bit of a bluish purple. And when we apply this to our normal map, or to our shading normals down here, instead of having this shading vector facing straight up, all of a sudden we get a little bit of bending in our shading normal. And of course, we can do this for all these different shading normals and program them manually to face in different directions. For all I care, this shading normal could face down. This shading normal could face, all the way up this way. This shading normal could face sideways. We can face these shading normals any single way we want because we have the power of the normal map. So something like this helps to put things into perspective when you're looking at normals, right? This is what people mean by it's an illusion. It's not actually altering the geometry, it's only altering the shading normals and how light will react when it hits that surface because of the shading normals. For those of you who watched the vector displacement video, it's actually pretty dang similar to how normal maps work. The values are stored in the red, green, and blue channels, just like they are with a normal map. And instead of just changing the shading normals, they actually change the vertex locations. So it's like, a lot of people ask, can you use a normal map as a vector displacement map? I mean, technically you can use anything as one, but effectively no, you can't. But they are very similar, so that's a little extra tidbit I thought I'd throw in there. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learned something new about normal maps, and I hope that you click that subscribe button. That way we can see you here on CG Cookie next week. Anyway, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you guys later.